Okay, in this video, what we're going to do is actually look at some Ethernet hardware, what it actually looks like. How do you physically interconnect Modbus TCP/IP compliance devices or any other devices? We have to remember that Ethernet and TCP/IP, they were originally developed to interconnect computers, right? So, and then they migrated and made their way into Modbus and Modbus devices and a host of other things as well. So we're going to concentrate on Ethernet hardware and firmware. So take a look at this image and you'll see there's server, computer, client, 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 and we have twisted pair cable going from each computer, right, to this thing called a switch. This switch is a means of interconnecting devices on an Ethernet network, and it's very important to know that. The devices aren't physically hardwired to one another. They are virtually connected via this switch. And this switch here manages data on the network and manages the connections. It's a switch, it's commonly called a hub, and there are other devices called routers, which are even more sophisticated, but we won't go into that right now. What I want you to know is that these things are called switches, and that's how you interconnect. And each cable here is called a twisted pair cable. And the connector on the end, there'll be a connector here and a connector here. There'll be a female port here to connect to this computer and this computer and this computer, and a port here to connect the jack there. What does this jack look like? Well, it looks like this. It's called an RJ45 jack, and it's pretty much the standard for Ethernet connectivity. And it'll jack in here and jack in there, and etc. for these other computers, right? So let's take a closer look at what that looks like. Here's a simple, I think it looks like an 8-port hub from Netgear, and you can see the cables connected into it. These are what the cables look like. So I just want you to have an idea. When you see this in your factory or facility and so on, you will know that this is an Ethernet hub, and devices get plugged in and are connected using that, right? And you can see the power lights, indicator lights, and that kind of thing. So this is a means of interconnection. It's a device on the hub, but it's really a means of interconnection. All right, and sometimes they can get quite large depending on the number of computers and the number of devices, right? In our case of Modbus TCP/IP compliant devices, if you have a large enough factory, you can have interconnections like this, because every cable has to come back to the Ethernet switch or hub. All right, so that is what Ethernet cabling and devices, physical devices, look like. And let me just go up here, back up. Note that every device that supports Ethernet will usually have this RJ45 port right here for a cable to connect in. This is computers, PLCs, IDs, everything that supports Ethernet, right, and TCP/IP. So good. So that's what I wanted to show you here.